Your brain runs on roughly 86 billion neurons, more processing power than any supercomputer on Earth. And yet, at least once a day, it just clocks out. I'm talking about the moment you wave back at a stranger who was waving at the person behind you, or when you push a door marked pull for 10 straight seconds while a crowd watches, or when you say happy birthday to someone whose birthday is nowhere near today. We've all done it, nobody talks about it, and today I've got 49 of these brain shutdown moments that will make you wisps, wait, that's literally me. Stick around to the end, because they only get more unhinged. And hey, if your brain has ever betrayed you like this, do it a favor and smash that subscribe button before you forget you were even here. Let's get into it. 1. There exists a strange myth that humans are the smartest creatures on the planet, but the cabinet in your kitchen tells a different story entirely. Somewhere out there, a person opens the fridge expecting milk, only to find a cereal box staring back, while the actual milk sits warming in the cabinet like it belongs there. The brain, for one tiny moment, simply clocks out without notice. No alarms, no warning signs, just a quiet internal shrug. And somehow life continues as if nothing happened until breakfast turns into a full investigation. 2. Another wild belief floating around is that texting takes real effort and focus. Tell that to the person lying in bed, wrapped in a towel, fresh out of the shower, confidently typing, "I'm on my way to a friend who's already waiting outside." The brain fully convinces itself this is true, ignoring the obvious fact that actual pants are not involved. Minutes pass before reality crashes back in, followed by a scramble so chaotic it could qualify as an Olympic event. Humanity, ladies and gentlemen, still undefeated in self-deception. 3. There's a popular myth that losing your phone means it's gone forever, vanished into some mysterious dimension. But somewhere in America, a person grabs that very phone, switches on the flashlight, and starts scanning the couch, the floor, and every shadowy corner of the house. The irony hits exactly 0% of the time during the search. Minutes tick by as the hunt grows more dramatic, cushions get flipped, drawers get yanked open, all while the answer sits glowing in their own hand. The brain simply refuses to connect those two dots, no matter how bright the light gets. 4. Some folks swear machines deserve basic human manners, and honestly, the self-checkout proves it. A shopper scans an item wrong. The machine blares expected item in bagging area, like a tiny robot drill sergeant, and what does the human do? They whisper thank you right back, completely sincere. No anger, no argument, just polite defeat. Around them, other shoppers nod knowingly, because everyone has lost this exact battle before. The machine wins again, and somehow walks away feeling respected, while the human quietly questions who's really in charge of that store. 5. There's a theory that polite phrases always make sense, but waiters across America are proof that theory falls apart instantly. The server smiles and says, "Enjoy your meal," and without missing a beat, the customer replies, "You too." Both people freeze for half a second, because the server isn't eating anything, obviously. Yet the moment passes, nobody corrects it, and the conversation just rolls forward, like everything is completely normal. This exact exchange repeats in diners and restaurants nationwide, proving that politeness on autopilot doesn't require logic, just confidence and a friendly tone. 6. A common myth claims humans always know exactly why they entered a room. Reality says otherwise. Someone marches down the hallway with full purpose, practically on a mission, bursts into the room, and then stands there completely blank. The task that felt urgent seconds ago has vanished without a trace. They glance around, open a drawer for no reason, maybe touch a random object, hoping it sparks memory. Eventually they walk back out, no answers found, only to remember the original reason the second they sit back down somewhere else entirely. 7. Some believe getting dressed is the easiest task of the day, requiring zero brain power. Then there's the person who throws on a shirt, heads to work, and goes through an entire day, meetings included, with the tag sticking out front and the seams completely backwards. Coworkers notice. Nobody says anything until 4 in the afternoon, when someone finally points it out. The reaction is instant horror, followed by a mental replay of every interaction that day, wondering just how many people silently judged the inside-out outfit without saying a single word. 8. There's a belief that elevator buttons respond to enthusiasm, and millions of Americans test this theory daily. The button is already glowing, clearly registered, yet a person walks up and presses it again, then again, sometimes rapid fire like it's a video game cheat code. Somewhere deep down, they know it won't speed anything up, but the finger does it anyway. Other people waiting nearby watch this happen, say nothing, then do the exact same thing themselves moments later. The elevator arrives at its own pace, completely unimpressed by all that extra effort. 9. A strange myth suggests that touchscreens have trained human fingers a little too well. Picture someone flipping through an old paper magazine, completely absorbed, when suddenly their fingers attempt a swipe, expecting the page to slide away on its own. Nothing happens, obviously, because paper doesn't do that. There's a brief pause, a flicker of confusion, before they physically turn the page like normal humans have done for centuries. It's a tiny moment, but it perfectly captures how deeply technology has rewired instincts, one accidental swipe at a time. 10. Some people believe birthdays are sacred dates nobody could possibly mix up. Then someone confidently shouts "Happy birthday" to a coworker, complete with a big smile, only for that coworker to awkwardly explain their birthday was 3 months ago. The room goes quiet for a second. The well-wisher doubles down anyway, insisting, "Well, happy almost birthday then," trying to save face. Everyone moves on, but that random Tuesday is now permanently remembered as the day someone got way too excited about a birthday that simply wasn't happening. 11. People assume security alarms only go off for actual thieves, but plenty of innocent shoppers know otherwise. Someone pays for everything, double-checks the receipt, and strolls towards the exit feeling great until that piercing alarm suddenly screams. Instantly, their entire body freezes mid-step, arms half-raised, face frozen in pure panic, even though they did absolutely nothing wrong. Every shopper nearby turns to stare. A worker eventually waves them through, mumbling something about a faulty sensor on a tag. The damage is done, though, because that walk of shame past the judging crowd already happened. 12. There's a myth that a friendly wave is a simple, foolproof gesture. Then someone spots a familiar face across the street, lights up, and waves enthusiastically, big smile included. The other person waves back just as warmly, except that wave wasn't meant for them at all. It was aimed at someone standing right behind them. Both strangers now stand there awkwardly acknowledging each other, neither willing to admit the mistake, while the actual intended friend walks off completely unaware. Somehow this exchange ends with an oddly warm moment between two people who've never met. 13. Plenty of folks believe doors are intuitive, requiring no thought whatsoever. Then there's the person standing in front of a glass door clearly marked "pull," yanking on the handle with increasing frustration while pushing against it the entire time. A small crowd gathers behind them, watching this struggle unfold in real time. Someone eventually taps the glass and points at the sign. The door opens instantly once pulled, working perfectly fine the whole time. The walk inside afterward feels longer than it should, every eye in the building somehow aware of what just happened. 14. Some say reading a menu is the most basic task at any restaurant. Yet somewhere, a customer squints hard at the words, tilting their head, genuinely confused why nothing makes sense. The descriptions seem garbled, prices look strange, and the whole thing feels oddly chaotic. A solid minute passes before they realize the menu has been upside down this entire time. They flip it around immediately, pretending nothing happened, while the waiter standing nearby has clearly witnessed the whole thing without saying a single word, filing it away as today's favorite story. 15. A widespread myth claims people always listen carefully before responding. Reality says otherwise constantly. Someone asks, "What did you say?" right after a sentence, then immediately answers that exact question before the other person repeats anything. The original speaker pauses, confused, because technically their question got answered without ever being repeated. Both people sit there for a second, unsure what just happened. Eventually, the conversation moves on like normal, but somewhere in that brain, two separate signals cross paths, and somehow both arrived at the correct destination simultaneously. 16. People assume familiar routes stay locked safely in memory, foolproof and automatic. Then on a rare day off, someone hops in the car, mind-wandering, and ends up halfway to work before snapping back to reality. The route felt completely normal the entire drive, autopilot fully engaged, muscle memory doing all the heavy lifting. Realization hits hard, usually around a familiar intersection that triggers sudden dread. A quick U-turn follows, along with a wave of disbelief that an entire day off almost got hijacked by nothing but pure habit. 17. There's a confident myth floating around that some memories are simply too important to forget. Someone hears an important detail, nods seriously, and declares, "I'll remember it. I don't need to write it down." Spoiler alert, they did not remember it. Hours later, that detail is completely gone, replaced by vague feelings of importance with zero actual content attached. Frantic backtracking begins, trying to recall the conversation word for word. Eventually, they give up, quietly admitting defeat, while silently vowing to write things down next time, a promise that almost never sticks either. 18. Some believe whispering in libraries keeps things quiet and respectful. Then someone leans in close to a friend, attempting the world's most intense whisper, except that whisper somehow comes out louder than regular conversation. Every head in the library turns immediately. The whisperer freezes, realizing their dramatic, hushed tone just echoed across 3 rows of bookshelves. An awkward silence follows, broken only by someone clearing their throat. The whisperer mouths, "Sorry," exaggeratedly, which somehow draws even more attention than the original whisper ever did. 19. Plenty of people trust alarms completely, believing they always work exactly as set. Then someone sets their alarm for 7, fully intending to wake up bright and early, except they accidentally select 7 in the evening instead of morning. The entire day disappears in deep, peaceful sleep. They wake up groggy, confused, staring at a dark window, wondering if it's morning or night. Phones get checked frantically. Calendars get scrolled through in horror, and the realization slowly sets in that an entire day simply vanished without a single moment of it being lived. 20. There's a myth that wallets and cards all function identically everywhere, interchangeable without issue. Then someone stands at a gas station pump, confidently swiping their hotel room key card, waiting for it to work like a normal payment card. Nothing happens, obviously. They try again, same result, genuinely puzzled why the machine refuses cooperation. A few seconds pass before realization hits like a truck. Embarrassed, they dig through their wallet for the actual card, while quietly hoping nobody behind them noticed that brief moment of complete financial confusion at the pump. 21. Some assume holding a door open is always a quick, simple courtesy. Then someone spots a person walking toward the entrance, holds the door wide open with a friendly smile, except that person is still an entire parking lot away. Now there's an awkward standoff, the door holder frozen in place, smile slowly fading, while the other person breaks into an apologetic half-jog, clearly embarrassed about the distance. Neither one wants to be rude by giving up. By the time they finally reach the door, both feel like they just finished a tiny obstacle course. 22. There's a myth that microwaves are boring appliances nobody actually watches. Then someone stands directly in front of theirs, eyes locked on the countdown, completely captivated like it's the final moments of a championship game. 30 seconds left. 20. The suspense builds for absolutely no reason, since nothing is happening except numbers changing. When it finally beeps, there's almost a sense of accomplishment, like they personally willed it to finish. They open the door, grab the food, and walk away as if they didn't just stare blankly at a box for half a minute straight. 23. Plenty of people believe parallel parking is someone else's problem to watch calmly. Then a passenger sits frozen, holding their breath the entire time, as the driver inches backward, forward, backward again, adjusting the wheel with intense focus. Tension fills the car. The passenger doesn't move, doesn't speak, doesn't even blink, as if any sound might throw off the whole operation. Finally, the car settles into the spot more or less straight. Everyone exhales together, releasing breath that had been held far longer than necessary for something this routine. 24. A common myth claims counting things is foolproof, simple arithmetic anyone can handle. Then someone counts a small group of items, gets one number, counts again just to be sure, and somehow gets a completely different number. A third count happens, producing yet another result entirely. Now there's genuine suspicion that the items are moving on their own. Frustration builds as the counting continues, each attempt yielding a new total. Eventually they give up entirely, deciding the exact number simply doesn't matter anymore, despite caring deeply about it moments earlier. 25. Some believe applause naturally spreads through crowds, everyone joining in together. Then the plane touches down smoothly, and one passenger bursts into enthusiastic clapping, genuinely relieved and grateful. They look around expecting others to join in. Silence. Not a single other clap anywhere on the plane. The clap slows awkwardly, then stops entirely, replaced by quiet shuffling and avoided eye contact. That passenger now stares straight ahead, pretending it never happened, while everyone nearby silently agrees to never bring it up, even though they all definitely noticed. 26. There's a myth that login forms are simple, requiring zero thought from anyone. Then someone sits at their computer, types their password directly into the username field, without noticing, hits enter, and gets an error message. Confused, they try again, same result, same error. Frustration builds as they double-check the password, retype it carefully, still nothing works. Eventually, after several attempts and a growing sense of technological betrayal, they spot the mistake. The password sits plainly in the username box, having been there the entire time, completely unnoticed. 27. Plenty of people trust their own hands completely, assuming spills only happen to clumsy people. Then someone carefully carries a full cup of coffee across a room, walking slowly, focused intensely on not spilling a single drop. Despite all that care, coffee sloshes over the edge with every single step, leaving a trail behind them the entire way. They arrive at their destination holding a cup that's now noticeably less full, completely unaware of the mess left behind, having been far too focused on the cup itself to notice anything happening around it. 28. Some assume sneezes always happen once and finish quickly. Then someone sneezes hard, immediately senses another one building, and braces for it completely, face scrunched, eyes shut, body tense, ready for nothing happens. They stay frozen in that position for several seconds, eyes still closed, waiting. Still nothing. Eventually, they slowly relax, opening one eye first, looking genuinely confused about what just happened. The anticipated sneeze never arrives, leaving them stuck mid-expression for an oddly long time, looking like they're posing for the world's strangest photograph. 29. There's a myth that fridges occasionally restock themselves if you just wait long enough. Then someone stands there, door wide open, cold air pouring out, staring intently at the same shelves they've already checked twice. Nothing new appears obviously, yet they keep staring anyway, almost willing something delicious to materialize out of nowhere. Eventually, they grab the same unsatisfying snack they always grab, close the door, and walk away, already planning to repeat this exact ritual again later, fully expecting different results next time around. 30. Plenty of people believe "be right back" is basically a promise, guaranteed and reliable. Then someone says exactly that, walks off mid-conversation with full intention of returning quickly, and simply never comes back. Minutes pass. The group keeps talking, slowly noticing the empty seat. Someone eventually asks where that person went, and nobody has an answer. Meanwhile, that person is somewhere else entirely, having gotten distracted by literally anything, completely forgetting an entire conversation existed, blissfully unaware that an empty chair is now the main topic of discussion. 31. Some believe people sound exactly like they imagine in their own heads, confident and smooth. Then someone records a voice memo, plays it back, and immediately recoils at how strange their own voice sounds. They listen again, certain it was a fluke, hoping the second listen sounds better. It doesn't. A third listen happens, then a fourth, each one somehow worse than the last. By the fifth replay, they've fully convinced themselves that's not actually their real voice, and decide the recording app must be broken instead of accepting reality. 32. There's a myth that introducing friends is the easiest social task imaginable. Then someone confidently starts introducing a friend to another person, voice steady, smile ready, until they reach the actual name and suddenly nothing comes out. Total blank. They've known this person for years. The pause stretches uncomfortably long, eyes darting around for help. Eventually, they mumble something vague, hoping everyone moves past it quickly. The friend whose name got forgotten stands there, slightly stunned, silently filing this moment away to bring up constantly for the rest of their friendship. 33. Plenty of people trust their own legs completely, assuming stairs are simple and predictable. Then someone climbs a familiar staircase, reaches what their brain insists is one more step, and lifts their foot dramatically for a step that doesn't exist. Their foot lands flat on solid ground instead, causing a sudden stumble and a brief moment of panic. They catch themselves quickly, glance around to see if anyone noticed, then continue walking like nothing happened, while internally questioning why their brain added an entire imaginary step that was never actually there. 34. Some assume getting dressed happens in one smooth, uninterrupted sequence. Then someone puts on a single sock, gets distracted by their phone, wanders to the kitchen, starts making coffee, remembers something else entirely, and ends up doing 3 completely unrelated tasks. 20 minutes pass. They walk past a mirror, catch a glimpse of themselves, and freeze, staring at one bare foot and one sock-covered foot like it's a complete mystery. The other sock is nowhere nearby, abandoned the moment getting dressed, got interrupted by literally anything else happening around them. 35. There's a myth that apologies only happen when someone actually does something wrong. Then someone gets their foot stepped on by another person, and instead of reacting normally, they immediately blurt out "sorry," completely unprompted. The person who actually did the stepping barely even notices, while the victim stands there, apologizing for existing in that exact spot at that exact moment. Nobody corrects this. The conversation moves on immediately, leaving behind one slightly confused stepper and one apologetic victim, both walking away like nothing unusual just happened at all. 36. Some believe toast only gets buttered once, simple and straightforward. Then someone grabs a piece of toast, butters one side carefully, gets distracted mid-task, and a few minutes later picks up that same piece again, buttering the exact same side a second time without noticing. The toast ends up absurdly buttery on one side, completely dry on the other. They take a bite, immediately notice something feels off, examine the toast closely, and slowly realize what happened, staring at it like it personally betrayed them somehow. 37. There's a myth that somewhere safe actually means somewhere findable later. Then someone takes an important item like keys or important documents and places it somewhere extremely safe, mentally noting the exact spot with full confidence. Weeks later, that item is needed urgently. The search begins immediately, covering every obvious location first, then increasingly random ones. The safe spot, ironically, never even crosses their mind, because it was simply too safe to remember. Eventually, the item resurfaces months later, completely by accident, in a spot nobody would have guessed. 38. Some assume morning routines always make logical sense, step by step. Then someone brushes their teeth thoroughly, feeling minty and fresh, immediately grabs a glass of orange juice afterward, and takes a big sip without thinking. The resulting taste combination is genuinely horrifying. Their face contorts instantly, eyes widening in pure regret as they stand there questioning every decision that led to this exact moment. The orange juice gets set down immediately, untouched for the rest of the morning, treated like it personally betrayed their taste buds on purpose. 39. There's a myth that phone calls always end clearly, with both people knowing exactly when it's over. Then someone finishes a call, except the other person already hung up several seconds earlier. Unaware, they keep talking, saying, "Hello? Hello?" repeatedly into a phone that's now completely silent on the other end. A few more attempts happen before they finally glance at the screen and realize the call ended a while ago. They hang up immediately, slightly embarrassed, wondering exactly how much of that one-sided conversation got recorded as dead air. 40. Some believe reply-all buttons are perfectly safe, harmless even, used casually all the time. Then someone receives a group email and decides to compliment their boss directly, typing out a glowing personal message meant for one person only. Without double-checking, they hit replied all instead of reply. The message goes out to the entire office instantly. Realization hits a few seconds later, followed by immediate horror. Coworkers start reacting within minutes, some teasing, some confused, while that one compliment becomes the most talked about email in office history that week. 41. There's a myth that headphones automatically mean focus, instantly blocking out the world. Then someone puts on headphones with full intention of concentrating, settling into work mode immediately. 10 minutes pass before they realize something feels oddly quiet. They check their phone only to discover nothing was ever playing. No music, no podcast, nothing at all. The headphones were simply sitting there silent the entire time, somehow still providing enough psychological focus to get through 10 whole minutes of completely imaginary background noise that never actually existed. 42. Some assume red lights are simple, requiring zero attention to maintain. Then someone sits at a red light, foot resting on the brake, mind wandering elsewhere entirely. Slowly, without noticing, their foot eases off just slightly, and the car begins creeping forward on its own. A few feet later, sudden realization hits hard, followed by an abrupt panic brake that jolts everyone inside. They glance around nervously, hoping nobody behind them noticed the car quietly trying to make its own decisions while the driver's brain was somewhere else completely. 43. There's a myth that too many browser tabs eventually become unmanageable chaos. Then someone decides enough is enough, closing 47 tabs in one dramatic sweep, feeling instantly accomplished and organized. Seconds later, they need information from exactly one of those tabs, the one tab that actually mattered. Without hesitation, they reopen it immediately, recreating the chaos they just eliminated, except now it's just one tab instead of 47. They sit there staring at it, fully aware of the irony, yet somehow completely unbothered by what just happened. 44. Some believe eating is one of the simplest activities, requiring zero verification. Then someone takes a bite of food, chews thoughtfully, and suddenly pauses mid-chew, staring blankly ahead. A strange thought creeps in. They glance down at the plate, then sideways at someone else's plate, then back at their own, genuinely uncertain whether this food belongs to them at all. The chewing slows dramatically while this internal investigation continues, eventually concluding with a shrug and continued eating, regardless of whether the mystery ever actually gets solved. 45. There's a myth that knowing the day of the week is basic, automatic knowledge everyone has constantly. Then someone gets asked, "What day is it?" and immediately freezes, mind completely blank. They guess Tuesday first, pause, then second guess themselves and say Thursday instead, sounding less confident with each attempt. A third guess follows, equally uncertain. By the time the correct answer finally surfaces, usually with help from someone else, they've already guessed 3 different days entirely, none of which felt right the moment they said them out loud. 46. Some assume leftovers always get eaten within a reasonable time frame, as intended. Then someone carefully stores leftovers in the fridge, fully planning to eat them the next day. Weeks pass. The container shifts further back, hidden behind other things, completely forgotten. Eventually, during a fridge cleanout, that same container reappears. Looking noticeably different than before, color and texture change dramatically. They open it cautiously, immediately regret that decision, and seal it back up just as fast, treating it like a tiny science experiment that grew entirely without permission. 47. There's a myth that mirrors only show familiar, predictable reflections, nothing surprising ever. Then someone walks past a mirror in their own home, catches movement out of the corner of their eye, and jumps slightly, genuinely startled for a split second. Their own reflection stares back, equally caught off guard somehow. They laugh it off immediately, slightly embarrassed about getting spooked by themselves in a place they've lived for years, then continue walking, pretending that brief moment of self-induced fright never happened at all. 48. Some beliefs, statements like "I'm not tired" are usually accurate, especially late at night. Then someone insists exactly that, settling onto the couch with a bowl of chips, fully confident they'll stay awake for hours. Within minutes, their eyes grow heavy, the bowl tips slightly, and they drift off completely. Hours later, they wake up face down, chip crumbs scattered everywhere, some stuck to their face entirely. Confused and groggy, they sit up slowly, brushing crumbs away, quietly reconsidering that earlier confident declaration about definitely not being tired at all. 49. There's a myth that reading a sentence once is usually enough to understand it completely. Then someone reads a text message, eyes moving across the words, reaching the end with absolutely no idea what it said. They read it again, same result. A third attempt happens, focus increasing slightly, yet comprehension remains 0. By the fourth read, start looking unfamiliar entirely, almost foreign. Eventually they give up, set the phone down, and walk away, fully prepared to read that same sentence again later, with identical results guaranteed. So there you have it, 49 glorious proofs that the human brain occasionally just clocks out for a coffee break without telling anyone. If you laughed, cringed, or said, "Oh no, that's literally me," at least 5 times, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so BrainFumble can keep exposing your daily chaos. Share this with the friend who definitely buttered that toast twice. Now drop a comment and tell me, which one of these 49 brain blanks has you personally lived through? I'll be reading every single one.